What's going on, guys? We are back with another story, and today we're going to get into the story of Weed Man and who he was, what he represented, and just everything about who we called Weed Man. And Weed Man passed away recently, so rest in peace, brother. We're always thinking of you, smoking for you, all that type of stuff. Alright, guys. So this story goes back to my high school days when I was like a really, really bad kid. And I wouldn't say I was a bad kid. I just didn't listen to my parents, and I didn't like listen to authority figures. So I kind of just did whatever the fuck I wanted. And this was, I think, sophomore years when I met Weed Man, and he lived across the street from my man's Mondo. And I spent a lot of time at Mondo's house, like a lot of time. In between, when I was on probation, I would always just like run away from my house so that my parents wouldn't know where I was at, and I would always go to Mondo's house. But the more time I spent there, he wasn't that good of a guy. He started beating on his girl. He was just like a crazy, eccentric dude that I didn't want to be around. So I tried to make other friends outside of just him, And that's where this guy, Mitch, or Weedman, comes in. And he just was Mondo's neighbor. Like, literally lived across the street from him. And it was very convenient that he had a little grow operation going on in his garage. And when I say little grow operation, this is Michigan, where it's legal. If you got a med card, you could have even more plants. So he had like 16 plants growing in his garage. He had like a full setup, like a $50,000 plus setup, and he was growing, and he was like I don't want to say like a high-ender plug, but he wasn't like no little boy working the street corner. Like, this is how he provided for his family, by selling. Like, he would sell a couple bows a week, and that's how he would provide for his family, pay the bills, etc., etc. So, introduce some juniors or sophomores in high school that think this guy's growing the best stuff in the world. He obviously taxes us, and he's like, well, I only sell ounces or less, and my ounces are $2.20. If you guys want it, come shop. If not, you guys can go to your little shitty plug. And, we see the product, we see him growing it, so we're like, we're just going to get through you. Might as well get through you. And we start hanging out with them. And I'm telling you, this starts to become like a daily occurrence where he was super into like collecting glass and that type of stuff. So he had probably 50 different dab rigs, and he was selling dabs for like $15 a hit. But it wasn't just like one hit. Like, it was like half a gram of wax. Like, you were getting fried. And we used to do that like every single day. I used to go hang out with him. And then he started getting ambitious because, he was moving like 5 or 6 bows a week. And he was making good money. But he had one grow didn't come out as expected. Like, some of the plants didn't bud as good. It wasn't as good as his previous batches. So then he was a little low. So he was like worried about how he was going to pay the bills, how he was going to get the bows to people that he owed bows to. And so he's stressing, and he decides he's going to add another 10 plants. At this point, another 10 plants puts him over the limit for like the amount of plants that you're legally allowed to have in Michigan. And he doesn't really give a fuck. He's just thinking about his family and how to provide for them. I don't blame him. Like, I probably would have done the same thing. If it's between like feeding my family or getting caught with a couple extra plants, I'm probably taking the couple extra plants. I'm trying to feed my family. He had 2 little kids too. Like, he was not a young guy. He was probably in his 30s or 40s. He had a wife and 2 kids. And that's where this all astounded me a little bit more. Like, I saw that weed could be something that you could enjoy, not just like the dumbass little kid. Like, that annoying high school pothead that doesn't do anything with his life. Like, I saw 2 adults that their life kind of revolved around weed, but they lived their life using weed. And I just thought, at the time, I thought that was really cool. I thought like, oh, this like shows me that I'm going to be able to smoke again in the future and not just be like a dumbass like couch potato. So that was really good for me to see. But when they got these more plants, he obviously started having a little extra weed, so he started selling to more people. And for the longest time, he was really, really strict about who he would sell to and who he wouldn't to. Like, you had to get an introduction. You couldn't just go to his house. Like, in Detroit, sometimes you can just literally go to a door, slide a $20 bill in the door, and they'll slide you a bag. Like, this was not like that. Like, this was, you have to have an in with them, and if you didn't have an in, you were fucked. Like, my friends wanted to get weed off of him, and I literally had to go buy for them because he didn't want certain people at his house. Like, he was like that type of guy. And he kind of gets a little lax on this rule, and he starts letting in like more high schoolers and more people over and over and over, because he's making money and he's not thinking about it. And we're chill, I'm chill, Mondo's chill, so he gets lax, and he lets these people come over, and they end up robbing him for like, I think like 10 bows. And he gets really upset, and he kind of locks down the house, and he just goes back to selling to his like 30 and 40-year-old friends, because that's originally what he was doing. Like, everything on the side, all these little ounces to these high schoolers, this was just on the side for him, that he was making more money. But the big shit, he was selling like a pound here, a pound there to like actual distributors and actual older people that had the means and money to move product, where we just wanted to get high. Like, these people, some of them were getting high, but I think some of them were selling, and you know what I mean? Like, he was the plug, and the niggas are middlemaning off of him. Like, he was the big dog. And so I'm chilling, and this is probably like 2 weeks after he gets robbed. He calls me over, and he's like, yeah, bro, so I'm just thinking I'm going to have this place shut down for like 3 months. Like, I don't want anybody to come in. I don't want anything like to go wrong. Like, there's just been a lot of kids here. I'm not fucking with all of it. Just a little too sketch. Like, I got 2 little girls. We got robbed, held up at gunpoint. I got little girls. I'm not fucking with that. And in my mind, I'm like, maybe this is a sign, bro. You should go get a job. Like, maybe you should stop selling weed. You just had your fucking baby girls held up at gunpoint because their dad wants to sell weed. Like, look at this from a father's standpoint. Obviously, this nigga did not look at it from a father's standpoint. He looked at it from a monetary, money standpoint. And that's fine. All power to him. There's a lot of people in the world that do that. That just could never be me, though. And literally, not even a month later, I'm at Mondo's house, so we're right across the street, and we're on his porch smoking, and all you see is 6 cop cars. And I shit you not, bro. Them niggas hopped out, and they weren't even in uniforms, bro. They were wearing their little trench coats, the DEA. You know how they got the little jackets that says DEA on the back? They were wearing them bitches. They were plainclothes officers, and I was like, damn, like, he got fucked. He got really, really fucked. And I really don't know what happened. All I know is that they took all of his plants, and he kind of had to, like, not even his plants, because the plants is one thing. They took all of his equipment. If you guys don't know about, like, weed equipment, like the lights, the tech, the electrical, all that shit costs a lot of money, like upwards like 20, 30, 40 grand. So he was deep in a hole. He didn't really know what to do. And I heard that he ended up going to work for somebody else as a trimmer, and he had really bad asthma, probably from smoking for years and years and years. And he was trimming, and he had an asthma attack, and he was too far out in the fields or whatever, and they couldn't get him back in time. So now his wife and his 2 kids gotta live by themselves. So that's a little fucked up, but it probably could have been avoided if he didn't smoke as much. But you never know. I always just thought of that raid whenever I think of him, because he passed now, and it's like kind of a way to honor him. Like, he really was. He had the best weed. Like, if I have a video, I'll plug in a video. He had the best weed. He always had the most. He was just a chill guy. He was super chill vibes. I mean, the way he was hanging out with high schoolers, shit was a little weird. Like, his wife was a little bit bigger girl, so maybe he like was attracted to the high schoolers. I'm not saying he was a weirdo like that, but there was a couple other things that came out that maybe he did do something with one of these girls. But you know what? He's dead. Can't defend himself, so I'm not going to talk too much on that. I just like to get all the facts out there when I'm telling these stories, guys. And yeah, guys, this is the story of Weed Man. There's just a random dude on the street who ended up being the plug. Ended up serving bows to like several high school kids. And he got a lot of us addicted to weed, for real. Like, I don't want to say addicted, but like he kept us coming back, and he would always give us discounts. And he fucked with me because I would be bringing a lot of people in, so he'd be giving me free shit. So he was like, tell your friends. When he had it open, he would be like, tell your friends, come shop. I would tell my friends to come shop, and they did. So yeah, guys, that was the story of Weed Man. If you guys liked and enjoyed it, make sure you guys like and subscribe. This wasn't like too much of a video, guys. It was just like shit talking, like chopping it up when I smoke my joint. If you guys want more videos like this, though, make sure to leave a like. I will be back with more soon. Hope you guys enjoyed.